Oh, son of a... Oh, hi. And welcome to today's episode of Gone Guy TV. Today, we're going to go take a look at what some consider the historic beginnings of Henderson, Nevada, and others would argue it's in fact the future. And that place is Water Street. Let's go take a look. Oh, hold it. I'm very sorry to have to interrupt this video, but looks like plans have changed a little bit. It was my intention to spend this video talking about Water Street, specifically the impact it's had on the city of Henderson, Nevada, and bringing in some of the historical background of why Water Street was important, including when it was nothing but empty, barren wasteland, and when it was developed, primarily for the needs of World War II, and then its development post-World War II, even involving some of the historical great moments that took place. Or, wait a minute, could be over there. At any rate, that's not going to take place, quite frankly, because, yep, life happens. Let me explain. I've been married for, well, a while now. And those of you who are married or have significant others understand that there comes a time to pay the piper. Long ago, I promised my bride that we would go on a cruise. Seems to be a simple promise, but over all these years, I failed to avoid it. And that in itself, well, that's a good topic for the video. So let's dive into that. So why did it take so long for me to keep that promise to my bride? Well, a lot of factors, one of which is, quite frankly, the world of cruising has changed considerably since I first started to consider it. In the beginning, the ships were, well, they were ships. That's what they did. They went from place A to B in a sensible, comfortable manner. Today, that's not quite the case. These are no longer ships. They're floating resorts. They're mega hotels. They are dining extravaganzas. They're even playgrounds, amusement parks. It's just amazing what these things have become, causing more and more confusion. And that confusion, quite frankly, simply led to, well, procrastination. To put the growth and size of the cruise industry into perspective, let's look at the size of the fleet. Currently, there are about 360 ships that at any given time are carrying upwards of 800,000 passengers and crew. In fact, just looking at the top 10 cruise ships, they combine for a total of over 27,000 guest cabins, carrying 67,000 passengers and over 21,000 crew members. To put that in further perspective, last year, the cruise industry carried over 31 million passengers. So compare that to Las Vegas, Nevada, which entertained 40.8 million guests that same year. Now, to even put it more in perspective, and an astounding view this is, that Las Vegas entertains its guests, incorporating 8.4 square miles. If you put all the cruise ships together into one massive floor plan, you'd have 2.3 square miles. So basically less than a third of that same space, and you're entertaining and caring for almost the same amount of people. Absolutely amazing. and, truth be told, more than just a bit frightening. But in full disclosure, I should also admit that I had serious concerns that our cruise may end up like this, or perhaps even this. But in spite of my trepidation and growing concerns, I was the good, dutiful husband and started to prepare for our cruise. That's when I discovered this is not an easy task. Planning and booking a cruise in today's world is full of moving parts, multiple decision paths, and many, many variables. Further, this is not something one does on their own. Turns out there are many layers of stakeholders, people who must be consulted, relied on, and worked with. In many cases, it's quite a lot like buying a house, except a lot harder. The non-cruisers out there are probably asking themselves, what's all the fuss? How much is there to this? You simply go online, click a few boxes, charge your credit card, and off to the cruises you go. Well, stand by. You'll see there's a lot more to this. And in no particular order, let's first look at what type of cruise, what kind of cruise line. You have your mainstream cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Costa, NCL, Carnival. Your premium lines like Celebrity, Princess, Cunard, Oceania. And of course the luxury lines like Silver Seas, Crystal Cruises, Viking, Regent. Well, each one has their pluses and minuses. Each one has its benefits, and each one has its own cost point. And in fact, each one can determine where you're going to cruise. And speaking of where you're going to cruise, well, the world is your oyster. If there's a place in the world, I can pretty much guarantee that there is a cruise line that serves it. And each destination or cruising ground has its own set of specific issues like how are you going to get there? How are you going to get back? What are you going to do once you get there? So the where you're going to cruise, that alone can be a very daunting task. Furthermore, the type of cruise line you pick, as well as where you're cruising, could also dictate another decision path. How big of a cruise ship do you want to be on? Each one has its own pluses and minuses, benefits and costs. And where you cruise can also impact what size of boat you're going to be on. Not every boat can get into every place. And now that we've gotten this far, still more decisions to make. Which cruise company to go with? There are cruise review videos, YouTubes, blogs, and hundreds, if not thousands, of different resources to help you, or realistically, prevent you from making your decision as to which cruise line. And then once the cruise line's picked, well, now you got to figure out the boat. Because within each cruise line, there are different boats, different classes of boats, different ages of boats. It just boggles the mind. So now we figured out the type of boat we're going to go on, the class of cruise we're going to go on, the location, maybe even the company and the specific boat we're going to go on. And now we have to pick the cabin. An easy task, you might think, but alas, not. One cruise ship I looked at had over 170 different classes of cabin, depending on its size, type, features, cost, and location. Not an easy task at all. And then there's the money. Now, how complicated can that be, you ask? You just simply buy your ticket and you're ready to go. Well, hold on there, Pilgrim. Not even close. In fact, the cruise lines expect that you will pay an additional 30% over your ticket price once you're on board the boat. And in fact, they're counting on it. And what, you may ask, could you be spending all that money on? Well, there's the taxes, fees, and port charges, internet access fees, room service, convenience fees, drinks charges, drinks package, corkage fees, adult-only lounge fees, select menu item fees, and that's, of course, in the free dining room, fees for using spas, fees for access to top attractions. Yeah, all those things you see that are fun on the boat, well, a lot of them cost money. Fitness center classes, automatic gratuities. You could speak on that one for a long time. And don't forget the shore excursions. In today's world of cruising, it's really not even so much as to whether you need money or how much money you do need. It's really more about, do you actually need a vault full of gold? Well, you may. So hopefully this short overview has, well, helped you understand my consternation, dread, concern, and, well, procrastination about moving through with this process of taking that long promised cruise. And while I'm almost through complaining, not quite yet. The process is so daunting that there is a plethora of guides out there to help the uninitiated plan and embark on their cruise of a lifetime. This one includes 47 pages of worksheets. So with that, I do rest my case. So with all that said, why now? Why, after all these years, am I planning and working on the cruise that I so long ago promised? Well, quite frankly, it comes down to my personal friend and mentor, Yoda. And I do live my life by his creed. So, it's now or never, so it's got to be now. So for the next few weeks, I will be laboring with coworkers, friends, acquaintances, scouring the internet to put together this massive task. And to you, dear viewer, we can only hope that you will join us in the weeks ahead as we embark on this grand adventure. And as always, thank you for watching this edition of Gone Guy TV.